Hey, it's Kate. So in the last video, I talked about why I started the Living Ayurveda course, and I gave you a little bit of the history of where it's come from and where it's going next. I honestly am astounded at how it seems to get better and blow my mind more every year. So where we start, I mean, really, the first thing we do is recover our rhythm. We unclog our body and clean up the temple. We get our temples running on the right schedule, right? Rhythm is everything, and at the right rhythm so that they can sparkle. We clean the gears, we optimize our sensors or our sense organs, we unclog our pipes or our plumbing, our digestion, our elimination, and we start to experience sukha, which is the clean inner space of the inner body. As we recover our rituals and rhythms, we start to own and move into our own biotechnology. We reduce our inflammation, we reduce our stress response, and soon we notice like everything is getting better and easier. We heal our biochemistry. Everyone comes in with a different story, but the rhythms and the rituals start to heal from within. And as it happens, our intuition starts to be revealed on higher levels, and we start to experience more joy and more ease. More bliss becomes our reality. And this is how it works. We move deeper into our temples, and as we own it, a new level of self-trust begins. As we learn Ayurveda and we learn the systems and the rituals and the habits, we start to actually demystify some of the blocks of habit evolution, and that makes it easier and faster and more fun to continually trade up our habits for better habits. And as that happens, our communal habits or those around us also start to feel better. I've seen this year after year, time and again. We start to optimize our metabolism, our absorption, our elimination. We start to get more rest. We start to have time for recovery, time for absorption of the lessons we learned. And what happens is as we absorb what we learned and live what we know, our integrity goes up to a new level. And we start to glow from the inside out. And we start to feel like, oh my gosh, I am the star of my own awe-inspiring reality show. We recover our grandmother's wisdom. We learn kitchen medicine. We learn to cook, serve our bodies with the foods that are better for our constitutions. We streamline our food to meet our food prep to meet our lifestyles. We start to optimize our metabolism, our nutrient absorption, our elimination, and we get efficient and well rested, and we start to have more recovery time in our own day, every day, as well as time for reflection and absorption of our progress. And as that happens, we start to own what we know on a whole new level, which starts to lead to a whole other level of integrity in ourselves and in our lives. We become the superstar of our own awe-inspiring reality show, and other people start to notice. We recover the grandmother's wisdom in the Living Ayurveda course. We learn the kitchen medicine. We learn how to cook to serve our bodies. We streamline our food prep so it doesn't take up our lives. And we streamline the food prep to actually meet the needs of our current modern lifestyle. We use the spices in our kitchen to prevent colds and flus. We start to nourish our skin with simple massage techniques, simple facial routines using the foods from our kitchen. And we turn our own values for ourselves or our families into a code, and we start to live by our own values. We come deeper into integrity with ourselves, and our families come into a rich, dynamic harmony that's honestly unlike anything we've ever experienced. I'm blown away by it personally every year. We start to share what we're learning with our core peeps. This is one of our core methods, is actually to share what we're learning, because we know that our learning can be a gift to others, but we also know that we strengthen what we're learning through teaching and through sharing. And this is one of our values. We find that it helps so much. We actually have all these tip sheets that you're able to give out. So as you're learning something, you're able to share it and teach it. Many of the members of the course are yoga teachers, are wellness providers, or leaders in their community, or work with other people, or have family members that are kind of interested in feeling healthier too. And so as you're learning, you're able to share what you know. And that's one of the key ways that we learn more deeply, by trying to explain something that we don't really quite understand yet. And we start to learn it deeper. And then that helps us ask better questions. We start to awaken the power of our own hands to heal. And as we do, we recover a lot of the rituals of our hands that actually know the marma points of our own bodies In Living Ayurveda, we recover deep ancestral healing wisdom. We actually start to process the ancestral baggage and develop rituals so that we can continue to do this. And as we do, we become more light and free without the sort of the fears and desires that can live in our bodies from our ancestors that are not really our own. Through the Living Ayurveda course, we start to know our own constitution. We start to live into the power of our unique physiology and our unique psychology. And through understanding ourselves, we learn how to take better care of our own needs. We understand from like the newest trend coming out where that fits into the spectrum of doshas and elements and whether it's going to be good for us or not. And that can save us a ton of time over time. As we learn how to tend to our own needs, we find we actually have the skills that'll last a lifetime as we get smarter, as we get older. There's different phases of life in Ayurveda, and we start to learn those. We start to learn how our constitution blends in with the time of life that we're in and what's coming next, and how we'll be adjusting for that. And also, we understand the full intergenerational perspective on life from the Ayurvedic point of view, which helps so much. So if you have a friend that's pregnant or a daughter that's postpartum or a neighbor that has 3 kids at home, you're actually more able to connect with their needs. You're able to be a more useful human being living in society, which is so, so huge. We start to understand our own metabolism and cooperate with our own digestive fire in whatever state it's in coming in to the course and into the community. And as we start to learn how to nourish our own metabolism and digestion, we start to absorb at another level of efficiency, meaning the energy that we're taking in, we can do a whole lot more with without any sort of digestive discomfort or elimination issues. We talked in the first video about Ama, and we talked in the last video about Agni and Sama Agni, and I described how excess weight can just fall off. We had a member report last week that she's lost 40 pounds, and she's about halfway through the course. We find that over time what happens is people recover their own ability to heal their metabolism, to heal the deeper tissues of their body, to heal their immune system. And why? Because we actually get to the rhythms beneath the imbalances, and we get to the deeper psychological needs within the constitution. Right? There's so much in the learning process that our modern medical system just doesn't fit. Even our modern holistic medical system doesn't fit. And we find that people are doing a patchwork of like trying this and this and this and this, and then they say nothing works, but they don't have the wisdom system. I'm never going to sell you a supplement, right? It's never going to be just this little thing, this little piece, just this little superfood. It's always going to be at the basis of imbalance. It's going to be a missing piece of wisdom. And here we get the whole foundation. We get the whole system of what's not working, of how we've disconnected from the grandmother's wisdom, how we've disconnected. We don't know our constitutions. We don't know our metabolic types. We don't know our subtle body anatomy. And wow, it's actually not that hard to learn. So the Living Ayurveda course only takes 9 months. And in it, you actually get to go through your physiology system by system. You also get to go through the group technology of like, what are your values? What are your family values? How do dynamic groups work? What is it like? What are the guidelines of being part of a dynamic group? And you start to enter whole new levels of collaborative capacity, which is super exciting because you become more clear and more open and more interconnected. We know we've invested in our longevity wisdom, and we're so freaking glad that we didn't delay. That's the most typical experience at the end of the course is like, why didn't I do this earlier? This is awesome. I wish I had known. I wish I had grown up with this. Boy, Indy's so lucky. I hear that all the time. She's so lucky. She just knows this from the get-go. I know when I first started learning Ayurveda and the systems and really a lot of the core teachings that we teach in this course, I had the experience. I was about 28 years old, and I thought like, wow, my life would have been a lot different if my mom had known this. Like my physiology, my biochemistry, but more deeply than that, like my own power. I would have been in touch with my own chakras, my own power center, my own ability to love and to connect. Like really, everything would have been different had I had this younger. And that's honestly the experience that I find is reflected the most at the end of the Living Ayurveda course. People are like, thank gosh, I did this finally in my life, because it changes everything ahead. In this course, you learn how to take care of yourself on such a fundamental level that it starts to open up a lot more time in your day. You also naturally start to, as you declutter the inside, you start to declutter the outside, and soon you're living in a much more streamlined environment for your biorhythms. You start to enjoy the quiet times, but also the focus times that you have, and the creativity times and the connection times. And you find that you start living more in your conversations or in your projects. You're much more alive and sparkier, and you're also so much more deeply rested. On a very practical level, the spaces that we're in, both in our homes and in the insides of our physiology, start to enter higher and higher levels of clarity, or sukha, clean space. We also notice what's out of rhythm. And so if our holidays are out of rhythm with our values and what we want to feel and how we want to celebrate, we actually sort of remake our holiday traditions. Travel becomes easier as we get the tips for optimizing our constitution and our metabolism when we're away from home. We have a special class just on how to travel, how to navigate challenging situations, how to navigate stress, how to navigate trauma, because it happens, it's part of life. We also practice being in a dynamic group, and as we do, our relationships become much more connected, and we start to experience the next level of interconnectivity and co-creativity. Those words, if it sounds like woo-woo, like don't worry about it, it'll just happen. And for those who are like, I want that, I want to be part of an exponential evolution. I want to be part of an exponential evolution community. Then know that that's what we do, that's what we practice, and there's actually techniques and some ground rules behind that. So as you start to learn and live Ayurveda, you'll feel like you've invested in your longevity wisdom, that you know, like this is an ROI that pays back year after year after year. And the way that this community has self-designed itself over the last decade is that if you want to stick around and go deeper, as many people do, year after year with us within the Living Ayurveda course, we make easy opportunities for you to stick around. And as you're ready to step into leadership in the community, we advocate that. Mentorship and mentoring is part of our process. And this may all sound a little bit like la la land and far away, but all of what I've just talked about, it happens faster than you've ever experienced. And that's really what exponential evolution within the Living Ayurveda course is all about. So if this all sounds good, what you're going to do is apply for the Living Ayurveda course, and you'll talk to one of our coaches who has taken Living Ayurveda and just can sense if you're ready, if it's a good fit, and we'll talk to you more about the details. I just want to give you a sense of what it's like on the inside and how it actually works. So what happens first is you select your path. We have people that are there to personally thrive. They have some self-healing work. They want to recover their rhythms. They want to do the ancestral work. They're ready to actually step it up for themselves. We have other people coming in who are like that, but they have a family. They've got kids at home, and they want to do this not just for themselves, but also for their family. So we call them a family healer or a family thriver. And then there's pros that come in. Our community is about 50% pro healer, meaning that these are people already working as professional wellness experts, either in the allopathic or the holistic wellness capacities. And they're here to learn Ayurveda. They're here to live it for their own lives. They're also on a personal thriver path. They also may have kids at home, but they're actively practicing, and they're hoping to share what they know, what they're learning with their clients, with their patients, with their students. And so that's how the course is designed. As you come in, and the first thing that happens is you decide, like, which is the group I'm going to fit best in. And we get you in that group. That group has a mentor, and that group has course assistants. Those course assistants are there to work with you a little bit more one-on-one, and your mentor's there to gather that group of you together. Now, I'm your main teacher in the course, and you'll be hearing from me every week. You have a weekly video with me. A few times a month, you have a conversation with me and the entire group, and we go through this together. And this is how the community continues to evolve. I'm very involved. I'm on the forum every week, as are all the mentors, as are all the assistants, and together we go through this journey. Now, what's so cool is even though you may be a pro healer and you might not have kids at home, you may have clients or patients that are, that are in family, right? That have kids at home or whatnot. And so as you're learning, you get to learn from that community, from that mentor and that group. You have access to every group. You have access to every path, the personal, the family, the pro, right? But you just are in one path. You're just learning within one path, because that's about all you can absorb. We know this from past experience, but you get access to all of it. So you get to like nibble and take little bits from here and there. You get to listen to any of the recordings from any of the calls, but you get to be live with your mentor on your path. It's such a cool experience, because I've been running these online courses since 2007, and now it's a decade later. One thing that I've learned is that some people need more technical assistance. Some people are less tech savvy than others. And so you'll also have a course concierge who can help walk you through, like, this is how you click to play a video. It can be as simple as that. No, I don't mean to make fun of the less tech savvy, but we help you, adjust to how to use the technology, how to watch the videos, how to print out your PDFs, the very, very simple things that just support our learning together. So remember how before I said that the course is fast and fun and effective? Well, that fast part is becoming, to me, more important as people's lives are getting busier. So a lot of us come in with, oh my gosh, I really, really need this, but I don't have the time. So we've streamlined the course so that you can have the time, you can make the time to completely succeed around here. And we'll help you carve out the time to meet your own deeper needs, right? But what I'm not going to do is overwhelm you. Instead, I'm going to give you a lot of options that you can play with these guys over here and dabble over here. And this is the core of what you're going to need to do to feel how you want to feel. So that's how the course and the community is organized. You may have guessed by this point that we're really into dynamic group evolution. We have a forum. It's very lively. We have retreats. You're invited. Only course members are invited to the retreats. You'll be invited there, and you can meet members not just of the Living Ayurveda course, but also the yoga health coaches of the world, and also members of Body Thrive. So the next thing for you to do is to, if you're like, this is sounding good, I should talk to somebody. So what you're going to do is you're going to apply, and in the application process is really just to help you get more clear in yourself. Right? What do you want? What's a priority for you in your life? What parts of Ayurveda are most exciting to you? And that's how the application process is designed, is for you to help you know more about what you want to learn next. And then what happens is, after you submit that, you'll go to a scheduler. And on that schedule, you're just going to schedule an appointment with one of my coaches, someone on my team that's been through Living Ayurveda, that understands it. And they're going to talk to you, and they're going to help see if you are ready, if this is a good fit for you in your life right now. And if it's not, they'll actually point you to some more free trainings that I offer. I have a ton of free trainings, so they'll just point you towards that. But if you're actually ready to invest in your own exponential growth, then they'll invite you in. And then the games begin. And you start to get right into the course, right in how it works. We go live at the end of every September, but there's quite a bit of stuff we do between now and then. And they'll tell you exactly what those additional bonuses are in those conversations. So right now, if you're like, okay, Ayurveda, I think it's talking to me. I think I'm smitten. Then go ahead and apply, and we'll take it from there.